you ever wanted to quickly find things inside your project and or hard drives in one particular click? What about setting up a multicam sequence in one click inside Premiere? What about applying audio effects to an entire track level? Well, we're gonna talk about that and more today when we talk about the 5 hidden features in Premiere that I use every single day. Internet, welcome back. It's Robert Teegarden here with another video. Today we are talking about 5 hidden Premiere Pro tricks that I use every single day. If you're new here, welcome. I post content on a weekly basis on filmmaking tips in the business of being creative. So if that's something that you're into, I suggest you stick around and have a look-see on what's going on the channel. You'll probably find something that's pretty valuable. Like I mentioned, 5 different hidden Premiere Pro tricks. Let's get into the first one that I use all of the time, which is revealing stuff in Premiere Pro and beyond. So if you look at the sequence that I have up in the Essentials workspace, you can hit this little hamburger. There's a lot of food references in programming. I guess they're really hungry late at night when they're programming in their little dark space room, but this little 3-stack thing's called a hamburger. And if you click on this thing, you'll see something down here called Reveal Sequence in Project. If I click there, you go up to the project window, and it's going to highlight the exact sequence that I'm working on. And why is this valuable, you may ask? Well, because if you're working on a big project where you have multiple sequences, maybe there's a setup, maybe there's a multicam, maybe there's different types of subsequences and different reframes that you need to work on, and you're trying to figure out exactly which one to click on inside of your project window there, well, all you have to do is look at the exact sequence that you're working on, reveal sequence in project. It's going to take you right there. Now, conveniently, we can do a couple more things with this reveal feature. If I go to this clip right here and I right click there, you'll see that I can actually go in and reveal that in the project itself. Now watch what happens to the footage folder. It expands to give me the exact piece of footage that I'm looking at. I can also go back to right click reveal inside Finder. It's going to open that up here in Finder. And conveniently, if I go over here, right click on another piece of footage, I can see that I can reveal that from the project window inside Finder as well. So if I'm looking for certain things, maybe there's an audio effect, maybe there's an effect that I need to do, some sort of color LUT that I can find all of these things either in my project or inside of Finder so that I can duplicate them, organize them, put all the different things around, make sure that my media is not offline or relink it if I need to. Incredibly handy feature that I use all of the time. Reveal in project, reveal in Finder, and that is our first tip. Let's move on to number 2. Now, keeping up with the food theme inside of Premiere Pro, I want to show you a way in the audio workspace that you can apply effects to the entire track level, not just the individual clip. So if we're inside the audio workspace, we're going to go into this audio track mixer and you'll see the faders and the pan buttons to go back and forth. But if you look in this upper left hand, I mean, talk about hidden. And ironically, it's called Show Hide Effects Sends. You'll be able to push down that caret. Told you that there was food references all over the place. You push down this little caret and you'll see these different effect sends and these buses over here. Now, if I click here, I have all of these different audio effects that I can apply to the entire track, not just that individual clip. So usually what I do is I put my dialogue all on one particular track for one particular person, and I make all of my effects and adjustments to that particular layer, that track layer, and I have the effects that are there consistently throughout, no matter how many times I make a cut to that clip. It's an incredibly helpful and effective way of doing so. Now down here, there's a way of pushing things into different bus sends. This is very heavily into the audio world in terms of how these things are routed, but I basically can take a group of tracks, send them to a particular effect send, and then have effects on that particular track level. It's a lot more for this particular video than we need to go into, but this little caret allows us to show and or hide effects and sends. That's our tip number 2. Let's move on to some multicam stuff. Now, very quick and easy way of setting up a multicam sequence is something that most people don't realize is even possible. Now, right here in this sequence, you'll see that I have 2 different clips stacked on top of each other, and I'm going to enable this multicam view right here. If I go up to this sequence, this setup sequence, which I can actually go in and do reveal project in Finder, see exactly why I use it all the time. You can right click on this particular sequence inside your project window, go down to new sequence from clip, and I realize realize that it's not a clip that we're working with, it's an actual sequence. So it should say new sequence from sequence, but it doesn't. I can click on that and immediately you'll see that there's this kind of nested looking clip that I have here. And right now you'll still see in the multicam view that I have the exact same piece of footage back to back. But if I right click here, go to multicam, click on enable, boom, you're going to see that I've clicked a multicam sequence. I can go back up here, name it, because I like to keep everything organized. Let's do that here. Boom, multicam sequence. That's tip number 3. New sequence from clip gives you a nested multicam sequence. Who knew? You do now. Let's move on to number 4. Because I love hamburgers so much, I want to go back and show you another thing that's inside that hamburger stack, which is show audio time units. Now, I've talked about this before in a couple different videos, in the fact that when I get to certain situations where I need to make micro adjustments to my audio placement within my track sequencing, it gets very difficult sometimes because it's going to be moving in lockstep with what the frames inside that sequence are going to allow me to do. So 1 second is going to be 23.96 frames across. And so I have to be careful that if my audio units overlap or if something's not necessarily aligned, I can't make those micro adjustments. Enter show audio time units. If I click that and enable it, I'm now able to move and make micro adjustments to the audio layering that's there that would be impossible to do if I didn't have that show audio time unit adjustment enabled. I'm going to look inside Premiere Pro. I'm just going to deselect this for a second and try to move back as far as I can. And I only get to one particular section, but if I continue to use this show audio time units, I can go so much further than I actually even thought possible. Look at the adjustments and the amount of kind of minutia that you can move around here in comparison to when I take and deselect that. You know, now I only have a frame by frame option to move. So show audio time units allows me to make perfect adjustments to my audio and place them exactly where I want to in my sequence. That's our next one up. Let's look at our last one, which has to do with workspaces. Now, Premiere Pro has generously given us a bunch of different workspaces that we have here between color, audio, captioning, libraries, even a vertical option, because we all know vertical video is now becoming more and more popular and it's here to stay, people. But let's just say that you want to have some sort of customized setup in what you're doing. Sometimes I like to have different types of things going on and multiple views of what I want to look at. This is called the pancake edit. And I've taken 2 separate sequences and stacked them on top of one another. And a lot of times what I end up doing is I'll have these 2 things together, where the top one will be a select, the bottom one will be a work file, and I can do that as well. Or I can just take my entire project window and move it around inside Premiere Pro into any particular space that I want. I can nest it on an entire side. As I have this kind of green unit here, I can put it anywhere that you're seeing on the top, on the bottom, that I like to, right? Let's just put it over here, kind of stack things around. We're going crazy over here, putting it all together. And if I like it so much, I can go up here to Workspaces. I can go to Save as a new workspace. And if it's something that I'm gonna use all the time, I can save it as a customized workspace. I've already done that here in RMT Workspace, where I have my project window on the side, my source here, my program window here, which I can adjust however I want to, de-enable multicam. Got my sequence down here, my timeline, everything's good. And then if I want it to go back, let's say we are in Essentials, which we had totally messed up with our pancake edit and our program monitor over here, I could just go reset to saved layout, bam, and everything goes back to exactly the default preset that's Premiere had for what we got going on there. And there you have it, ladies and germs. Those are 5 different hidden techniques inside Premiere Pro that I use on the daily. If you like this video, like the damn video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and ring the bell for post notifications, because if you haven't figured it out, we drop a lot of different knowledge bombs here in Teegarden community land. I appreciate you guys watching this one. If you want to see even more techniques or are curious about anything that I talked about here, drop a comment below and let me know what you think. And until next week, we'll see you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.